Hello everyone! In the last few weeks, I believe I have gone completely insane, as what I'm about to do, well, it's just crazy. I will try to install the Windows card games such as Solitaire and FreeCell on Linux. Oh, and I use Arch by the way, though I knew nothing about Linux until this moment. Of course I have to troll the whole community with Microsoft Edge, which does in fact have a Linux release. So how are we going to proceed? Well, there's this website that provides the Windows 7 games for Windows 10 and 11, and we'll grab that installer and run it with Wine. I managed to set it up and also have a few add-ons such as Wine Tricks, Wine Mono and Wine Gecko just in case. These provide some additional compatibility layers for IE, .NET and more. So after the download has finished, we can try and install the games. I have to apologize to you Linux nerds for doing the things in the way I did them here, like for example running the whole system under root. I mean, please don't report my channel for harmful content, I'm still learning and also I'm using Arch by the way, so you should respect me at least a little for this. Alright, going back to the installer, by the looks of it I will need the terminal to run Wine with the executable in mind. And immediately after running the setup wizard, some errors appeared in the command line. However, the installer loaded properly, at least from what I could see. Let's ignore the issues and proceed with the installation. We will try to go as far as possible, hopefully without major problems. And at this moment, it all seemingly froze. It did take a liberal amount of time, but in the end, it managed to recover and start the setup wizard. So, I minimized the terminal window and focused on the installer. I decided not to get the online games because the server for them is dead. And after clicking on next, you can see that it's actually copying files now. Let's fast forward this part. Alright, so I was asking myself where the installer dumped these files, and it turns out that Wine actually has its own sort of folder, if you can understand me, and that's where we will go. I believe the games are in program files. Again, you have to excuse me for this, but with my very limited experience with Linux, I don't yet know if Wine places any sort of shortcuts of installed Windows apps, or if I could make myself any. Well, I obviously can, but for now let's just run the games. Starting with Spider Solitaire, you can again see some errors in the command line. This time though, you can also notice some glitches like the text not appearing in the dialog box. This is about the difficulty level. Another thing which is really unfortunate is that the entire menus also don't appear. And while the game itself does run fine, and by that I mean the whole UI with the cards, pretty much nothing else works, even hitting Ctrl Z does nothing. These issues plagued pretty much all other games as well, and to be honest, they are pretty serious. On the other hand, when I tried chess, that didn't even want to load and threw an error. So the Windows 7 games won't work under Arch. But I have one more trick up my sleeve. In this folder right here, I have copied the executables and cards DLL from a Windows XP machine. Well, I haven't copied them just now, but I used the same copy I made when I was trying to get these games onto Windows 10 and 11. As you can see, this time the text appears and the same can be said for the menus as well. I was hoping these games would work since they have much simpler graphics. And here they are. Ctrl Z works, and even the hint button that very few Windows users even know about also works. Dialog boxes aren't a problem. So yeah, Spider is great, Solitaire is also okay. Here's the About box with Wine's developers by the way, and that in itself is pretty interesting when you consider that all of Wine is brought to us with reverse engineering. I mean, Microsoft documents only part of the Windows functionality. Okay, a small issue I see here has to do with the different textures of the cards not wanting to load. As you can see, no matter what I choose, it's always either red or black. But I'm not entirely sure if this is a Wine issue and not something to do with the way I've ported the games. In any case, it works, and it works almost flawlessly despite the errors in the command line. Even the cursor in FreeCell when you try to place the cards loads as it should. Minesweeper also works, but there is one thing I really want to try out since I already have the XP games, and that is Pinball. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we will now see if 3D Pinball, a game so closely associated with Windows, works with Wine. Oh my god, I can't believe this, it actually loads! This is unbelievable. How much crazier than this could it ever get? 3D Pinball Space Cadet on Arch Linux. Okay, this has got to be one of the most absurd things I have ever done on this channel. You know, I might as well switch to Linux at this point. A huge thank you to everyone still watching. I hope this experiment was interesting. Please subscribe for even more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video.